So what I'm going to propose here is a bit of a process by which some of the energy venture companies are thinking about applying to themselves, and Energy Ventures is considering applying this concept across its portfolio of companies. So what I've done here is, for an early stage company, is list a few milestones to think about, and then think about what an alpha company would look like against this list, and what a delta company would look like. Well, it's pretty straightforward. If you're hitting your technical milestones, you get a yes for alpha. If you have the management skill set that you need inside the company at that stage, which is mainly technical, but you need some field engineering skills, then you can still get a yes. Have you been speaking to customers? Do you have client pull greater than 0? You know, if nobody's, if it's so far out there that you still have no interest, then it's you're beginning to get a little bit worried. Now you want enough secrecy around this thing that you protect the value, but you want a yes here, that's for sure. Is our cash on plan? Are we managing to what we said we'd do? Is our potential high? Well, an alpha company will be able to answer yes to all of these. Is our cost versus price ratio good? Yes. And here's a critical aspect. Do we have thought leadership? Okay, if you're developing a tool or a technology, a product or a service that has a commanding demand, then you may not need thought leadership. But if you do not have commanding demand or incredibly strong client pull for the niche product or service that you're looking for, because remember, you're looking for something with very high potential, not that it's really, really important, but you can only sell a few of, then you're going to need some thought leadership. You need to be able to write articles. You need to be able to make presentations. You need to be able to command an audience. You need to be able to get into the customer's offices. Do you have thought leadership in the company? An alpha company should be able to answer that question, yes. And as you can expect, a delta company will rack up some no's on this. Okay, so what would a beta company look like? Well, I would propose that you start thinking about, you're now at the validation stage, so you've gone to the field, hopefully with a couple of clients either offsetting your costs or at least participating in the experiment. Are there clear-cut client metrics? In other words, do we know what the customer is looking for? What constitutes success for the customer? Do we know that? So many times we think we've had a great test, and the client is scratching his head saying, well, it's interesting, it looks pretty neat, but it really didn't turn me on. It really didn't do it for me. Do we have the marketing and sales skills in the company? Have we chosen our geographies well? Does our value proposition still hold? Is our budget to cost ratio, is our cost to price ratio okay? Are we on budget? How's our cash looking? Is our client pull much greater than 0 now? Okay, and again, a beta company doing everything well will have yeses all the way down this side of the column, and an echo company, not doing so well, would probably have no's on most of these criteria. So for a growth company, this is where it gets really critical. Are we field ready? Will it really work? Okay, there's been a number of instances, case histories in the oil field service industry, where people have gone to field too early, tried to scale up, and the product or the service fell over. It wasn't robust enough. So that's really a critical question. Have our margins been confirmed? Do we know what our manufacturing is going to be? Do we know what the mean time between failures is? Do we know what the lead time is for our critical items? Do we have the cost of repair established? Do we have a trained sales force in place? Are they knowledgeable? Are they respected? Do they know their customers? Do we have a client pull much, much greater than 0? Do we have people ready to stand up and buy? Now, the working capital question is an interesting one. If you've got everything else checked and you don't have the working capital, that's the perfect time to sell and put the company in the hands of the appropriate buyer who can take this technology to market and provide the working capital. If you're going to take it to market and your game plan for exit for the liquidity event is to list the company, then you're going to need to get some working capital in place. do we still have very high level game changer potential? Ideally, you can answer yes to all these. In the real world, the answer is probably not quite so clear cut, but if you're at this stage and you have a long list of no's on this side, you're in trouble. So you don't want to be, anybody want an F on the bell-shaped curve? No, nobody wants to be a foxtrot company at this point. You're way down the burning arrow of time, and you're in a salvage mode at that point in time.